Okay. Just, here's what I want to do. Take out your qualifying listing presentation script, or qualifying the listing presentation, or qualifying the listing appointment. Okay, qualifying the listing appointment. So what I want to do is, I don't want to teach this necessarily as a qualify the listing, qualify for the listing appointment. What I kind of want to do is I want to work on teaching you how to ask questions, start the concept of asking questions, because what's happening is we're getting too remote. When do you plan on moving? Never. Oh, never. And then there's no other questions that go along with it. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking to you. On the basic qualifying questions that we put out today, that says, before I come out, there's a few questions I need to ask to get a better idea of the plans that you have. Is this a good time to talk, right? This is what we teach you guys. Okay, so the client, is this a good time to talk? The client says, excellent, absolutely. So we're going to ask again. So tell me, where are you guys moving to? They say San Francisco, hopefully, or Los Angeles, or whatever, Riverside, whatever they give you. And then our next question here, is this a business move, or are you retiring? It's the question I want to know. I want to start asking questions that are going below the line here. Because where do you plan on moving to? I plan on moving to Los Angeles. Great. We teach. So what's great about Los Angeles? Well, Los Angeles has good schools. All right? So that's not necessarily 100%. Let's say that Walnut has good schools. Does everybody know that? Okay, Walnut has great schools. So if a client says to you, I move into Walnut, and then you ask the question, the follow-up question, wow, so what's important about Walnut? You guys with me right now? Okay, and the client says, I like the schools in Walnut. That's great, because all of you know Walnut has great schools, so you're agreeing with their answer. When you agree with their answer, we tend to assume that they're thinking the same thing we're thinking. You get that? They have good schools. I think they have good schools. They have good schools, so therefore they have good schools, and now I know what the answer is. So when you get into negotiations with the client, and the client says, well, let's say you're $5,000 away from the deal. And you say to the client, well, you know, you wanted to move to Walnut because it had great schools. And the client says, yeah, so I'm still $5,000 away. Not a very compelling piece of information. It's what you got, but it's not compelling. Let's go below the line a little bit. Let's ask another question. So when the client says, that's great. Walnut, great schools. You know, I agree. I've heard, too, that they have great schools. But let me ask you a question. What's important about the school to you? What's important about that school or those schools to you? I know what's important to me. What's important to you? So now the client says to you, now they could say grades, they could say test scores, they could say a lot of things, but this particular client says to you, well, the truth is, I heard that school, the high school, has a great basketball coach. My son and daughter, or my son, daughter, whatever, is in a basketball program, and it's very expensive to go to the club teams and all the different things that you need to do to get a kid into college for this. That's the path. But we heard that that coach has a connection at a couple of SC schools, California schools, and he gets a decent amount of kids looked at and gets them in there. So our thinking was, we'll get into the Walnut School District, we'll go to the Walnut High School, and we will, hopefully our son and daughter will get trained and be able to go into maybe a college of their choice. Because the truth is, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I don't have the money to put my kids through college. I just don't. I used to. My taxes, you know, my 401k is gone, my house is gone, my equities are gone. So I really don't. So his or her opportunity to get into college is now through that school, through that particular coach in that particular district. Does this make sense? Yes. You keep that information. Fast forward, we're in negotiations to buy a house. You're $5,000 apart again, remember? Well, okay, so we're $5,000 apart, can't seem to get it together. You ask the client, you know, I remember we talked originally, you wanted to get your kids into the schools for the school district, right? Is that still the case? Absolutely. Now, if all we have is the school district, we don't have a lot of power here. But if now we know that, well, so do you still need to get your son or daughter into that coaching program so that they might be able to get into a college of their choice? Because I remember you telling me that without that, they're not going to college. Is that still true? Well, yeah, it is. So let me get this right. What you're saying is that the $5,000 difference now is standing between your child's college education, having it or not having it. So how important is your child's college education? And they'll tell you it's important, let's do something, or it's not so important, in either way. But do you see what you've got now with that extra question and that extra listening and piece of information? Does this make any sense?
Yes.
Would that help you do another transaction in the near future? Asking a few more questions, listening, keeping the information, and then when you need it, be able to bring it out. That's what you need to be working on. That's what you need to be working on. So I want you to go through the first 3 or 4 questions here. So let's read through those a couple times, and then we'll do some role play with it. All right, let's go.